Risk management in logistics. Keeping your supply chain strong. Hello friends, and welcome to X-Term Enterprises. Today we're going to talk about something super important for every business. Risk management in logistics. Simply put, risk management means being ready for all the bad things that can mess up your carefully planned operations. It's like having an insurance policy for your supply chain. Imagine your supplier suddenly stops sending stuff because their place got flooded, or maybe your truck had an accident and all your goods got ruined. These are situations that can bankrupt you, especially if you're not prepared. So today, we'll show you how to make your supply chain stronger and protect your business. So, let's talk about operational risks. These are the risks that are connected to your everyday work, and they can get in your way at any time. One of the most common operational risks is transportation delays. Your goods can get stuck anywhere, at ports, airports, or even in traffic jams, and this can cause a big problem for you, especially if your customers are waiting for on-time delivery. Then there's the risk of equipment failures. Your trucks can break down, your forklifts can stop working, or your conveyor belts can suddenly break. And every time this happens, your work stops, and you waste both money and time. And let's not forget about labor shortages. Finding qualified workers and keeping them in your business is getting harder than ever. And if you don't have enough people to run your operations, you can get into trouble. The key to dealing with all these risks is diversification. Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, think about multiple suppliers, transportation methods, and even backup plans. This way, if one thing goes wrong, you'll always have a plan B to fall back on. Now, let's talk about supply chain disruptions. These are events that can interrupt the flow of your goods and affect your entire business. One of the biggest risks is supplier failure. If one of your main suppliers suddenly stops delivering goods, it can mess up your whole production process. This is why it's important to make sure you're working with multiple, reliable suppliers. Then there's the issue of raw material shortages. If the materials needed to make your product aren't available, you can't make it. And if you can't deliver goods to your customers, they'll go somewhere else. And let's not forget about sudden changes in demand. If demand for your product suddenly increases, will you be able to meet that demand? And if demand suddenly drops, what will you do with the leftover inventory? To avoid these disruptions, you need a clear understanding of your entire supply chain. Know where your suppliers get their goods, the different methods of transportation, and the potential bottlenecks. The more you know, the better prepared you'll be to handle disruptions. Let's talk about something we have no control over: natural disasters and environmental risks. These unexpected events can devastate your supply chain and cause huge losses. Think about floods. Imagine your warehouse, packed with all the goods you were hoping to sell, and suddenly it's all underwater. It's happened before and it will happen again. And if you're not prepared, it can be disastrous for your business. Earthquakes can be just as devastating. They can block transport routes, destroy warehouses, and cripple your operations. And because they come without warning, it's hard to be ready for their impact. And let's not forget about climate change and the extreme weather it causes. Hurricanes, droughts, and wildfires are happening more often than ever, and they can have a devastating impact on supply chains. So, how do you protect yourself from these risks? First, assess your risk in the areas where you operate. Are you vulnerable to floods, earthquakes, or other natural disasters? If so, it's essential to have backup plans. Consider getting the right natural disaster insurance for your business. It can be expensive, but it can be a lifesaver if disaster strikes. Finally, think about flexibility. Do you have a backup warehouse? Can you ship your products through a different port? The more you diversify your supply chain, the more you'll be protected from natural disasters and environmental risks. Chapter 4. Title: Financial Risk: How to Protect Yourself When It Comes to Money. Body. Financial risks can affect your logistics operations. Changing fuel prices are one of the most obvious risks. This can have a big impact on your transportation costs. Make a solid financial plan and hedge against risks. Stay informed on the latest trade regulations. Chapter 5. Title: Cybersecurity Risks, Protecting Your Supply Chain in the Digital Age. Body. Let's talk about a risk that's becoming increasingly important: cybersecurity risks. In the digital world, our supply chains are more vulnerable to data breaches and cyber attacks than ever before. So, how can you protect your supply chain from cybersecurity risks? First and foremost, invest in strong cybersecurity measures. This includes firewalls, antivirus software, and intrusion detection systems. Train your employees about cybersecurity best practices. Making your employees aware and vigilant about cybersecurity threats is your first line of defense. Chapter 6. Title: Compliance and Regulatory Risks. Staying on the right side of the law. Body. Last but not least, let's talk about compliance and regulatory risks. The logistics industry is heavily regulated, and staying on the right side of the law can be a challenge. Delays at customs are probably the most common problem businesses face. Your goods can be held up by customs officials for hours, days, or even weeks, causing costly delays in your logistics operations. And if your paperwork isn't in order, you could face fines or even have your goods confiscated. New government policies and trade regulations can also impact your operations. Governments can change the rules overnight, and it can be hard to keep up with what's going on. But ignorance is no excuse. Imagine you're shipping goods to a country where a new labeling requirement is suddenly put in place. If you don't follow those new rules, your shipments could be delayed, fined, or even returned, costing your business both time and money. So, how can you mitigate compliance and regulatory risks? First, do your research. Understand all the rules and regulations that apply to your business, including import and export laws, labeling requirements, and safety standards. Consider consulting with a customs broker or trade advisor for assistance. They have the expertise and resources to stay up to date with the latest rules and regulations. While there is a cost involved, it can be negligible compared to the potential expenses from fines or delays. Finally, stay organized and up to date with your documentation. Make sure you have the correct permits, licenses, and certificates for all your shipments. This will help you avoid customs delays and ensure your business runs smoothly. Outro. Title: Risk Management in Logistics, Strengthening Your Supply Chain. Body. So friends, that's all about risk management in logistics. Remember, your supply chain is only as strong as its weakest link. By identifying and preparing for potential disruptions in your supply chain, you can keep your business running smoothly and your customers happy. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any questions or want to share something that works for you, then leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more amazing content. Until next time, take care and keep your supply chain strong.